Let me say something that will offend you. You are the author of your own suffering. Not your boss, not your circumstances, not the unfairness of the world. Your mind is a wild animal, and you have let it run free. It devours your peace, your joy, your days, and you feed it. Every time you ruminate on insult, every time you worry about what you cannot control, every time you let anger burn through your hours like fire through dry wood. But here is what I know, what I have tested in my own life and in the lives of those I have taught. The mind can be tamed, and when it is tamed, you become free, not from the world, but from yourself. I will show you 7 habits, 7 disciplines that will train your mind to be still, not numb, not indifferent, but calm, unshakable, yours. You are here because your mind will not rest. You wake tired, you live on edge. A careless word from a stranger ruins your afternoon. A mistake you made years ago replays itself in your thoughts without mercy. You scroll, you distract, you numb yourself, but the moment you stop, the noise returns. Fear of what might happen, anger at what did happen, regret, shame, worry, envy, they take turns, but they never leave. Perhaps you have tried to fix this. You have read books, listened to advice, told yourself to think positive or let it go, but your mind does not obey such commands. It is not enough to want peace. The mind must be trained. I do not speak as one above struggle. I have known exile, loss, the cruelty of fortune. I have watched good men destroyed not by their enemies, but by their own uncontrolled passions. And I have learned this: the only battle that matters is the one within. Not because external things do not matter. They do. But because, if you cannot govern your own mind, you will be governed by fear, by rage, by the whims of circumstance. For years I have practiced what I will teach you today. Not perfectly, no man does, but persistently. And these practices have brought me something the world cannot give and cannot take. Tranquility, not the absence of difficulty, but the presence of an inner stillness that difficulty cannot destroy. What I will teach you is not a trick to suppress your feelings. It is not a way to escape responsibility. It is not an endorsement of passivity or indifference. It is not a promise that life will become easy. What I will teach you is this: how to meet life, all of it, the beautiful and the brutal, with a mind that is awake, clear, and unshaken. You believe that calm comes from having the right circumstances. It does not. Calm comes from within, from a disciplined mind that has learned not to be tyrannized by opinion, passion, or fear. By the end of this teaching, you will have 7 practices, simple, ancient, and profoundly effective. They will not solve your external problems, but they will give you something far more valuable: freedom from the chaos within. You will learn how to examine your own mind, how to correct its errors, how to meet difficulty without collapse. You will learn that you are stronger than you knew, and that peace is not found, it is practiced. This is not entertainment. This is instruction. Stay with me. What I offer you is not comfort, but transformation. I once knew a man, wealthy, accomplished, admired by many, who could not leave his house without anxiety. Why? Because he imagined that everyone who saw him was judging him. He believed they noticed his clothing, his posture, his every word. He would rehearse conversations before they happened and torment himself with what he should have said after they were over. He was a slave, not to any master, but to the opinion of strangers who barely thought of him at all. One day I asked him, "If these people did not exist, would you be free?" He paused. Then he said, "Yes." And I replied, "Then free yourself. They do not think of you as much as you imagine. And even if they did, what power do their thoughts have unless you give it to them?" He began, slowly, to practice indifference to opinion. It took time. But gradually, he walked through the world as a free man. He stopped rehearsing. He stopped defending himself in conversations that existed only in his head. He simply lived. And in living without the weight of imagined judgment, he found something he had not known in years. Lightness, ease, the ability to be present in his own life. I watched him transform over months. At first he would still catch himself worrying about what someone might think, but now he would notice it, smile to himself, and let it go. He learned to distinguish between useful feedback and meaningless noise. If someone criticized his work with genuine insight, he listened. But if someone simply disliked him for reasons that had nothing to do with truth or virtue, he learned to shrug, not with arrogance, but with clarity. He understood that we cannot control what others think, and to waste our lives trying is to give them a power they do not deserve. I tell you this story because it is not unique. You have lived some version of it. You know what it is to be imprisoned by the thoughts of others, by what they might think, what they might say. But here is what I learned from watching this man transform. Most of the chains that bind us are not real. They are phantoms. We create them with our own minds, and we can uncreate them the same way. Not by pretending we do not care what anyone thinks, that is false bravado, but by asking ourselves a simple question. Does this person's opinion change what is true? Does it change what I must do? Does it change who I am? Almost always, the answer is no. And when you see that clearly, the opinion loses its power. You begin to understand that most people are too busy worrying about themselves to spend much time judging you. And even those who do judge you, what does it matter? Their judgment does not feed you. It does not shelter you. It does not make you better or worse than you are. It is simply noise. There was another man who lost years of his life to anger. A business partner betrayed him. It was real. The injury was genuine. The man had trusted, and he had been deceived. Money was stolen. Promises were broken. His reputation was damaged. But what happened next was not the partner's doing, it was his own. He spent his days imagining revenge. He spoke of nothing else. His anger became his companion, his obsession. It ate his sleep, his relationships, his health. His children avoided him because he spoke only of betrayal. His friends stopped visiting because they could not bear to hear the same story again. And still, he could not let it go. I said to him one day, "Your enemy has moved on. He does not think of you. But you are still in chains. He wronged you once. You wrong yourself every day." He stared at me, and I saw in his eyes that he had never considered this. The betrayal had happened years ago. The partner had gone on with his life. Perhaps regretted what he had done, perhaps did not. But the man sitting before me had allowed that single event to define his entire existence. He had given his betrayer not just his trust, but his future, his peace, his joy, everything. I asked him, "How many hours have you spent thinking about this betrayal?" He could not count them. Hundreds? Thousands? "And in all those hours, has your enemy suffered even one moment?" He shook his head. "Then who," I asked, "is the true victim here? Who has lost more, the one who betrayed you once, or you who betray yourself daily by refusing to release what is already past?" I watched tears form in his eyes, not tears of self-pity, but tears of recognition. He saw, perhaps for the first time, what he had done to himself, how he had taken a single wound and reopened it every day with his own hands. Slowly, with great effort, he began to release his grip on that anger, not because the wrong was undone, it was not. Not because he forgave easily, he did not. But because he saw that holding on to it was destroying the only life he had. He began to practice a simple discipline. Each time the thought of betrayal arose, he would acknowledge it. I was wronged. And then he would say, but I will not wrong myself further by living in that moment forever. It was not magic. Some days he failed. Some days the anger returned with full force. But over time, the grip loosened. And in loosening, he found space for other things, for new relationships, for work that mattered, for days that were not colored entirely by bitterness. He told me months later that he had wasted more of his life in anger than the betrayer had ever taken from him. The betrayal cost him money and reputation, but the anger cost him years. I tell you this story because anger is one of the great destroyers of peace. It feels righteous. It feels justified. And sometimes it is justified. But righteous anger that is nursed and fed and kept alive becomes something else entirely. It becomes self-destruction. And the man who holds on to it believes he is punishing his enemy, but he is only punishing himself. The enemy sleeps. The angry man does not. The enemy enjoys his life. The angry man does not. Who, then, is truly defeated? Anger promises satisfaction but delivers only more anger. It promises justice but delivers only bitterness. It promises strength but delivers only weakness. Do not trust it. Use reason instead. Every night, before I sleep, I call my mind to account. I close my eyes and review the day. Where did I speak in haste? Where did I misjudge? Where did I allow fear or anger to move me rather than reason? I do this not to punish myself, but to learn. My mind has been my teacher. And this practice, this simple habit of self-examination, has done more to calm my mind than any philosophy I have read. Why? Because it brings my errors into the light before they harden into habits. It allows me to correct my course, and it reminds me each night that I am still learning, still growing, still capable of better. When the light is removed and my wife has fallen silent, aware of this habit that is now mine, I examine my entire day. I go back over what I have done and said, hiding nothing from myself, passing nothing by. Some nights I am pleased with what I see. I acted with patience. I spoke with clarity. I helped where I could. I did not waste my hours on what does not matter. Other nights, I am not pleased. I see where I failed, where I was short with someone who did not deserve it, where I worried needlessly about something beyond my control, where I allowed a small irritation to grow into a large disturbance. But here is what this practice has taught me. I am not surprised by my failures anymore. I expect them. I am human, but I do not leave them unexamined. I look at them, I learn from them, and I resolve to do better. This is not the practice of a perfect man. I am not perfect, but it is the practice of a man who is committed to progress. And progress, slow and steady, is what brings peace. Not the elimination of all error, that is impossible, but the daily effort to see yourself clearly and to adjust your course. This practice costs nothing. It requires no teacher, no book, no special place. Only honesty. Only the willingness to look at yourself without excuse and to say, and here is what I will do differently. If you do this every night for a month, you will see changes in yourself that you did not think possible. You will catch yourself before you speak in anger. You will notice patterns you never saw before. You will become, slowly but surely, the author of your own character rather than its victim. These stories are not unique. You have lived them in different forms. The unquiet mind takes many shapes, but the remedy is always the same: discipline, practice, and a return to reason. Now I will teach you the 7 habits that bring this remedy to life. These are not theories, they are practices. They require effort, but they work. Not because I invented them, but because they are rooted in the nature of the mind itself. If you practice them, your mind will change. Not all at once, but it will change. The first habit is daily self-examination. At the end of each day, before you sleep, call your mind to account. Ask yourself, where did I fail today? Where did I speak in anger? Where did I allow fear to govern me? Where did I waste time on what does not matter? This is not punishment. This is medicine. You are the physician of your own soul. Each day brings small errors, small compromises. If you do not examine them, they accumulate, they harden, they become your character. But if you face them honestly, you learn, you correct, you grow. I do this every night. I lie in the dark and review my actions. Some days I am pleased. Other days I am not. But the practice itself, this habit of looking at my life without excuse or defense, has made me calmer, wiser, more free. Why? Because I am no longer surprised by my mistakes. I see them. I learn from them. I move forward. The unexamined life is chaos. The examined life is order. You cannot change what you will not see. This practice is the foundation of all the others. Without it, you are simply reacting to life, carried along by habit and impulse. With it, you become the one who chooses, the one who directs, the one who learns. Think of it as keeping accounts with yourself. A merchant who does not review his ledgers will soon find himself in ruin. So too with the soul. Review your actions, see where you profited in virtue and where you lost, and adjust accordingly. The second habit is to control your response to injury. You will be wronged. This is certain. Men will insult you, betray you, treat you unjustly. You cannot prevent this, but you can control what happens next. Most men, when wronged, double the injury. The offense was one moment, but they carry it for years. They replay it, nurse it, feed it like a fire. The wrongdoer moves on, but the victim remains captive. Here is what I have learned. The injury happens once, but your anger happens 1,000 times. The first is done to you, the rest you do to yourself. This does not mean you become passive. It does not mean you allow yourself to be trampled. It means you respond with reason, not rage. If the matter can be corrected, correct it. If it cannot, why do you waste your hours reliving it? You have so few days. Why give them to the person who wronged you? I will tell you something that may be difficult to hear. The person who wronged you has probably forgotten about it. They have moved on with their life. They are not lying awake at night thinking about what they did to you, but you are. You are the one who suffers. You are the one whose peace is destroyed. And this is the cruelest part. You believe that by holding on to your anger, you are somehow punishing them. But you are not. They do not feel your anger. You do. Anger is a poison you drink while expecting the other person to die. To be free of it is to reclaim your life. Not because you have forgiven in some grand, noble way. Forgiveness can come later or not at all. But because you have decided that your peace matters more than their punishment. When someone insults you, pause before you respond. Ask yourself, is this person worth my peace? Is this injury worth the hours, the days, the years I might spend nursing it? Almost always, the answer is no. And when you see that clearly, you can let it go. Not because the insult was not real, but because your time is too precious to waste on those who do not deserve it. This is not weakness. This is strength. The weak man lashes out immediately. The strong man chooses his battles, and he chooses them with his mind, not his passions. Remember, every moment you spend in anger is a moment stolen from your life, and you cannot get it back. The third habit is to practice premeditation of adversity. Do not wait for disaster to strike before you learn to endure it. Eat plain food. Sleep on a hard surface. Wear old clothes. Ask yourself, is this what I feared? And when you see that you can endure it, that it is uncomfortable but not unbearable, your fear loses its power. This is not morbid. This is wisdom. Most men are destroyed by the fear of loss, not by loss itself. They imagine poverty, illness, death, and these imaginings steal their peace. They lie awake at night worrying about things that have not happened and may never happen. And in worrying, they lose the only thing they truly have: this moment, this day, this life. But if you rehearse these things in your mind, if you touch them lightly in practice, they become smaller, manageable. You say to yourself, if I lost my wealth, I would survive. If I lost my position, I would survive. If I faced hardship, I would endure. And in saying this, in practicing it even in small ways, you rob fear of its power. I do not say you will never suffer. I say you will not be ambushed by suffering. You will have practiced, and when hardship comes, you will meet it not with panic, but with the calm of one who has already walked through it in his mind. Fortune is a harsh teacher, but imagination is a gentle one. Learn from imagination first. When I practice this, when I spend a day in voluntary discomfort, I am reminded of something important. Most of what I have is not necessary. I do not need luxury to be content. I do not need comfort to be at peace. These things are pleasant, yes, but they are not the source of my well-being. My well-being comes from within, from the strength of my own mind, from my ability to endure. And when I know this, truly know it, then fortune has no power over me. I can enjoy what I have without clinging to it. I can lose what I have without collapsing. This is freedom. The man who needs nothing external to be at peace is truly free. The man who depends on wealth, on position, on the approval of others, is always at the mercy of forces beyond his control. But the man who has practiced adversity, who has touched hardship lightly and found that he can endure it, that man cannot be shaken. He has tested himself, he knows his own strength, and that knowledge is worth more than any fortune. The fourth habit is to focus only on what you can control. Most of your suffering comes from resisting what you cannot change. The weather, other people's opinions, the past, death. You exhaust yourself fighting battles you cannot win. And meanwhile, the one battle you could win, the governance of your own mind, goes unattended. Here is the principle. Divide everything into two categories. What is within your control and what is not? What is within your control? Your thoughts, your judgments, your responses, your effort. What is not? Almost everything else. When you stop trying to control what you cannot, your mind becomes quiet. Not because your problems disappear, but because you stop wasting energy on the impossible. I cannot control whether you listen to this teaching. I can only control whether I teach it well. I cannot control whether fortune smiles on me tomorrow. I can only control how I meet whatever fortune brings. This is not resignation. This is clarity. When I see clearly what is mine to do and what is not, I am free, free to put my full effort into what matters, free to release what I cannot change, free to live without the constant friction of trying to bend the world to my will. The world will not bend, but I can. And in bending, in adapting, in accepting what is, I find a strength that resistance never gave me. Think of it this way. You are standing in the ocean. Waves come. You can stand rigid and be knocked down again and again. Or you can move with the waves, bending, adjusting, remaining upright, not through force, but through flexibility. This is what it means to focus on what you control. You control your stance, your balance, your response. You do not control the waves. And once you accept this, you stop fighting the ocean and start working with it. Freedom is not the absence of obstacles. It is knowing which obstacles are yours to face and which are not. Most people waste their entire lives trying to control things that were never within their power. They try to control the opinions of others. They try to control outcomes that depend on 1,000 factors beyond them. They try to control the past, wishing it were different. And in all this effort, they miss the one thing they could actually control: themselves, their own thoughts, their own responses, their own character. This is where true power lies, not in controlling the world, but in controlling yourself. The fifth habit is to remember your mortality. You are going to die. So am I. So is everyone you love. This is not meant to frighten you. It is meant to wake you up. Most men live as though they have infinite time. They waste their days in quarrels, in envy, in pursuits that will not matter when their last hour comes. They save their real living for someday, and someday never arrives. But when you remember that your days are few, everything changes. You stop wasting time on trivial anger. You stop delaying what matters. You stop pretending that your life will go on forever. Each morning I wake and I remember, this may be my last day. And this thought does not make me sad. It makes me alive. It makes me careful with my hours. It makes me grateful for what I have. It makes me brave. Because if death can come at any moment, why should I fear the opinion of men? Why should I waste my time on pettiness? Why should I delay telling the people I love that I love them? Why should I put off the work that matters? I should not. And so I do not. Contemplate death not to become morbid, but to become present. The awareness of death is the beginning of wisdom. When I think about the men I have known who wasted their lives, it is not because they lacked opportunity or talent. It is because they forgot that they were mortal. They believed they had time to waste, time to hold grudges, time to pursue empty things, time to put off what mattered. And then, suddenly, they ran out of time. They lay on their deathbeds and looked back at their lives and saw how much of it was wasted. How many days were spent in anger over things that did not matter? How many hours were given to people who did not deserve them? How many years were postponed, waiting for the right moment that never came? Do not be that man. Remember your death. Let it instruct you. Let it wake you up to the preciousness of the days you have left. Death is not the enemy. The wasted life is the enemy. And the wasted life is the one lived as though it will go on forever. When you truly understand that you will die, you stop living carelessly. You stop postponing joy. You stop avoiding difficult conversations. You stop waiting for permission to live fully. You simply live, knowing that each day is a gift that you did not earn and cannot keep. The sixth habit is to cultivate solitude and inner withdrawal. You must learn to be alone with your own mind, not in distraction, not in entertainment. In stillness, most people flee themselves. They surround themselves with noise, company, activity, anything to avoid the silence within. But this is how the unquiet mind remains unquiet. It is never faced, it is never known. Set aside time each day to withdraw, not from the world permanently, but briefly. Sit in silence. Let your thoughts arise. Watch them. Do not judge them, but do not obey them either. Simply observe. This practice will disturb you at first. You will see how chaotic your mind is, how it jumps from fear to desire, to memory without rest, how it creates problems that do not exist and rehearses conversations that will never happen. This is normal. Your mind has been running wild for years. It will not settle in a moment. But if you persist, something shifts. You begin to see your thoughts as separate from yourself. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who observes them, and in this space, between you and your thoughts, there is freedom. The fortress you seek is within. Build it through stillness, and no circumstance can breach it. When I sit in silence, I do not try to stop my thoughts. That is impossible. I simply watch them. A worry arises. I might lose everything. I see it. I acknowledge it. I do not fight it. And then it passes. Another thought comes. I said the wrong thing yesterday. I see it. I acknowledge it. And it passes. Another. What if tomorrow brings disaster? I see it. I let it pass. And slowly, over time, I learn that my thoughts are not commands. They are just thoughts. They come and go like clouds. And I am the sky, unchanging, always present, always calm beneath the movement of the clouds. This is perhaps the most important thing you can learn. You are not your thoughts. Your thoughts are events that happen in your awareness, but you are the awareness itself. And awareness cannot be disturbed. Only the contents of awareness can be disturbed. When you realize this deeply, you discover that you already possess the peace you have been seeking. It was always there, beneath the noise. You just had to learn to be still enough to notice it. The seventh habit is to serve something greater than yourself. The mind that is turned only inward, only toward its own comfort, its own safety, its own desires, becomes small, anxious, brittle. But the mind that is turned outward, toward service, toward contribution, toward the good of others, becomes expansive, calm, strong. You were not made to hoard your days like a miser hoards gold. You were made to use them, to help, to teach, to create, to give. And when you do this, something remarkable happens. Your own troubles become smaller. Not because they disappear, but because they are no longer the center of your world. I write these letters not for my own peace, but for yours. And in writing them, I find my own peace deepened. This is the paradox. When you stop seeking calm for yourself alone and begin to give what you have learned, the calm becomes unshakable. Why? Because you are no longer dependent on your own small concerns. You are part of something larger. You contribute. You matter. And in mattering to others, you matter to yourself in a way that self-focus could never provide. You are part of a whole. When you serve that whole, you complete yourself. Think of a man who spends all his time worrying about his own health, his own wealth, his own reputation. He is never at peace because there is always something to worry about. His health fluctuates, his wealth is uncertain, his reputation is always at the mercy of others. But now think of a man who dedicates himself to a cause, to helping others, to teaching what he knows. His own troubles do not vanish, but they no longer consume him. He has something larger to focus on, and in that larger focus, he finds the peace that eluded him when he was focused only on himself. Service is not sacrifice. Service is expansion. When you serve, you become larger than your own concerns. And in becoming larger, you become calmer, because you are no longer trapped in the small prison of your own fears and desires. These 7 habits are not mysteries. They are simple. But simple does not mean easy. Now, I will show you how to begin. Tonight, before you sleep, take 5 minutes. No phone. No distractions. Close your eyes and ask yourself 3 questions. What did I do well today? Where did I fail? What will I do better tomorrow? Write nothing. Just reflect. Let your mind answer honestly. Do this every night for 1 month. You will begin to see patterns. You will begin to change. This is the practice of self-examination. It costs you nothing but 5 minutes, but those 5 minutes will reshape your life. The next time you feel anger rising, do this. Pause for 10 breaths. Count them. Feel the air enter and leave your body. Ask yourself, will this matter? In a year? In a month? Tomorrow? Then respond, not from anger, but from reason. Most of the time, after 10 breaths, the anger will have lost its grip. You will respond better. You will regret nothing. This is the practice of controlling your response to injury. 10 breaths. That is all. 10 breaths between impulse and action. In those 10 breaths, you reclaim your power. You insert space between stimulus and response, and in that space, you are free. Choose 1 day each month. On that day, eat simple, plain food. Wear your oldest, simplest clothing. Sleep on the floor or a hard surface. Spend no money. At the end of the day, ask yourself, was this unbearable? You will find it was not, and your fear of hardship will begin to fade. This is the practice of premeditation of adversity. 1 day a month, 12 days a year. But those 12 days will teach you more about yourself than any book. You will learn what you truly need and what you only think you need. You will learn that you are capable of more than you imagined. You will learn that discomfort is not disaster. Each morning, make 2 lists in your mind. What I control today. My effort, my attitude, my responses. What I do not control, others' opinions, the weather, outcomes. Focus your energy only on the first list, release the second. This is the practice of focusing on what you can control. It is simple, but it will save you years of wasted effort and frustration. Every time you find yourself worrying about something, ask, is this within my control? If yes, act. If no, release it. This simple question will transform your life. When you wake, say this to yourself. I am mortal. This day may be my last. I will not waste it on what does not matter. Let this thought guide your choices. You will find yourself saying no to pettiness and yes to what is real. This is the practice of remembering your mortality. 1 sentence. Every morning, but that sentence will change how you live your entire day. It will make you present. It will make you grateful. It will make you brave. Find a quiet place. Sit. Close your eyes. Breathe. Let your thoughts come and go without following them. Do not judge yourself if your mind wanders. It will. Just return to your breath. 10 minutes every day. This is how you build the inner fortress. This is the practice of solitude and inner withdrawal. 10 minutes seems like nothing, but those 10 minutes will become the most important part of your day. They are the time when you remember who you are beneath all the noise, all the roles, all the demands. They are the time when you return to yourself. Once a week, do something for someone else without expectation of return. Teach something you know, help someone in need, write a letter of gratitude, give your time. Watch how your own troubles shrink in the light of contribution. This is the practice of serving something greater than yourself. Once a week, 52 times a year, and in those 52 acts, you will find a peace that no amount of self-focus could ever give you. You will discover that the best way to help yourself is often to help someone else. These practices are not ornaments. They are tools. Use them. Your mind will resist at first. It is used to chaos. But persist. Day by day, breath by breath. The calm will come, not as a gift, but as the fruit of your own effort. And when it comes, you will know that it is yours. Not because fortune granted it, but because you built it, and what you build cannot be taken from you. The peace that comes from external circumstances is fragile. It depends on things remaining the same, but the peace that comes from inner discipline is unshakable. It remains no matter what fortune brings. We have come to the end of this teaching. Let me leave you with what matters most. You did not choose the world you were born into. You did not choose your circumstances, your losses, your struggles, but you can choose this: how you meet them. You can choose whether your mind will be your tyrant or your servant. You can choose to practice these 7 habits day after day until the chaos within begins to settle. I will not lie to you. This path is not easy. There will be days when you forget, days when you fail, days when your mind runs wild again and you feel you have made no progress at all. But this is not failure. This is the work itself. To return, again and again, to discipline, to reason, to the practices that restore your calm. You are stronger than you know. You have within you the capacity for tranquility that cannot be taken by any circumstance, any loss, any hardship. But you must build it. You must practice. The mind you have now is the result of years of neglect. The mind you want will be the result of deliberate, daily practice. Start small. Pick one habit. Master it. Then add another. In time, you will look back and barely recognize the person you were, the one who lived at the mercy of fear, anger, and worry. You will see how far you have come, and you will be grateful for the day you decided to begin. Remember this: a man is free when he desires nothing but what depends on his own reason. You cannot control fortune. You cannot control others, but you can control yourself. And that control, practiced daily, is the only peace that lasts. Go now, practice. And when your mind stirs itself into needless storms, return here. Return to these teachings. Return to the habits. They will be waiting for you. They will always be here, unchanged, ready to guide you back to calm. If this teaching has served you, subscribe to this channel so you do not miss what comes next. Like this video if it resonated with your soul, and in the comments, tell me, which of these 7 habits will you begin with? I read every word you share. Your journey matters to me. Until we speak again, may your mind find its rest, and may your days be spent in what is worthy of them.